Hi everyone, Azriel Knight here, and in this episode, I'm going to show you my new darkroom. If this space looks familiar to you, it should. I've been filming in here for the last 4 weeks. For the last year, it's been my office, but I've decided to convert it into my new darkroom. If you're curious what happened to my old darkroom from a year ago, I'll leave a link at the end cards. But for this episode, I'm just going to start my story when we moved in here. This basement is nothing like the last basement. It's mostly finished. The last one was a blank slate. You could drop a darkroom in anywhere. I knew I couldn't, or at least I didn't think I could have a full-on darkroom, but I wanted to have something, so I started with underneath the stairs. Here I am inspecting the space under the stairs for the first time on video, before we actually even moved into the place. I thought it was doable because I didn't have to crouch all the time, just while I was walking back and forth. It seemed like a neat idea and was easy to light-proof, just some Gorilla Tape around the door frame and plywood over the window. Here I'm ripping out the old shelves, and the initial plan was to just throw a plastic shelf in the nook. The shelf was adjustable and compensated for the slope in the floor. A couple of months of tweaking and adding things, and I had something that worked. But long sessions were tedious, and my neck was sore after. In September, I replaced the plastic shelves with ones made from 2x4s, and I salvaged those from the old darkroom. More space for more stuff and heavier stuff. Next month, after a cold snap I'm sure, I decided the next step was insulation. I only bought enough to get part of it done, and really, I don't think finishing it would have made a huge difference. It was 5 Celsius in there by this time of year, and using a space heater to preheat the room only worked for a short time and felt unsafe. My back hated it because I had no breathing room, and my lungs hated it because I had no breathing room. My second bathroom in the basement has 2 doors to access it, and one of those doors has this light with its own switch just outside. Oh, my darkroom chemicals taken outside of the room. The plan is to build a wall right there. So I built a wall, covered it in plywood, added the insulation I bought previously, and now I could stand upright and had immediate access to water. I even built a stand for my enlarger to fit in the bathroom corner, and I used it quite a bit in a short amount of time. It wasn't great, but it was definitely better. Just last week, I'm talking with one of my Patreon patrons, and he says that his darkroom is in a spare bedroom. And then the wheels start turning for me. I think, well, why don't I convert my office into the darkroom and move my office to the other room? It might make a better office anyway. And I think, yeah, there's carpeting, it's nice on my feet. It'll be easy to light-proof this room. There's already good ventilation because actually it's the best heated room in the whole house. Access to water pretty close by. Yeah, so when I gave it some thought, it sounded like a really great idea. And the only downside I could come up with was the carpet. But in reality, I could spend $200 or $300 trying to protect the carpet, or I could just give my landlord $200 or $300 for the carpet when we go. I mean, not that I'm trying to ruin it. I immediately went to work, moving everything out of here and prepping this space. Here's where I'm at with the darkroom so far. First, the room is light tight enough for darkroom prints, but not for transferring negatives into a tank. I am still getting light leaks under the door, but nothing that a towel or 2 can't fix. I have most of my main supplies in here, and I have made this nook, which I screwed into the wall with an L bracket. However, I find it's still not enough, or I need to organize it better. Basically, if I needed to, I could just plug everything in and I could probably make myself some prints. But I'm a little lost as to what I should do next. See, every time I do some type of darkroom work, inevitably one of you shows me a better way to do it. And I'm incredibly thankful for it. The wealth of knowledge in the comments section is amazing, and my workflow is completely different now because of it. Here's a quick breakdown of what I have and what my limitations are. The room measures approximately 10 by 12 feet and has a small bathroom attached. The sink is super shallow and the faucet doesn't allow for attachments. So much of my wet work is going to be done with the shower. The carpet is fluffy and I don't want to sacrifice it. I'm not trying to ruin it, but at this point, I think the most I'm going to do is a throw rug in the wet area. I should say too that I did consider putting down plastic and then plywood over top of that. It would be fairly cheap, but I'm not going to nail it down, and I don't think I'm going to like the way it's going to sound or how shifty it'll get over time. I think my ventilation is good. I've got heat coming in one end and the bathroom fan on the other. This room is also sealed very well. Just watch the drop ceiling when I swing the door open. Okay, so those are the major things that I'm trying to take care of at the moment. There's a bunch of minor stuff too, but I think the solutions to those will just come with time. I would appreciate any suggestions that you have, but I want you to keep one phrase in mind when you suggest them. Shoestring. I am done spending any more money on failed darkroom attempts. I think you can understand that. I still have a bunch of supplies from the previous incarnations, like 2x4s and plywood and a couple other random things. I also have everything that I need as far as enlargers and tanks and all that goes. So, other than a roll of tape here and some plastic covering there, I'm really not looking to spend a whole lot of money. That's all for now. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, maybe you'll consider becoming my patron on Patreon. Through Patreon, I offer things like newsletters, early access, and exclusive prints. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and until next time, stay classic.